It was another creative, productive week, and look, I've got a finish to show you. I'm Michelle. This is my romantic tangle. I finished Coffee Pot. I could not be more satisfied with how this turned out. I started it early in March, and this is what brought my plan for all of the new starts in March to a screeching halt because I could not put this down. I could not imagine how these colors were going to come together and make something that looked like the mock-up that came with the pattern. But they did, and it is everything I love about counted cross stitch. I love the confetti, I love the shading. I just adore it. And I don't frame anything, but I'm going to buy a frame for this. It also helps that it's 5 by 7 inches, so it's a standard size, and it should be easy to find a really great frame at the thrift store. And I'm not going to be satisfied with a less than great frame. I thought that when I finished it, I might have that sense of loss where a favorite project comes to an end and what do I work on now? But I'm going to start Miranda. This is by the same Etsy seller. It's a scene from William Shakespeare's The Tempest, which I know less than nothing about. I just love the image of a woman with the rocks and the ocean and her dress, and I am in the mood for this type of stitching. So I've got my floss, I've got my fabric. Now I just need the patience to grid and set up a floss organizer and get it ready to go. In the meantime, I'm keeping myself very happily distracted with Hannah Slew Lovers by Night Spirit Studio. It looks a little better if I hold it up with something behind it. I love these intertwined skeletons. I picked this up after having set it aside for a while. I stitched the second skull and I realized something did not look right. And it was about an hour into stitching it before I realized what the problem was. I'd made the decision to stitch the skeletons with 3 strands of DMC so they would stand up more against the background fabric since I'm not doing it on black. I didn't leave myself a note, and I forgot. And so I had an entire skull stitched with only 2 strands, and it did not look right. And I was grumbling about it, and my youngest son told me that it looked fine. I could leave it the way it is. Maybe I could stitch over it with 1 strand and make it 3 strand. He didn't know about cross stitch and didn't know if 1 strand was a thing, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe I could do that. He was suggesting all of the things that on any other project I would normally do. But I had, as soon as I realized there was a problem, I was going to take the stitching out and do it right. Especially, it's a skull. It is one of the main focal portions of the piece. And it actually did not take that long to rip out and start over, but it was so entertaining that my son was there being like the little cartoon devil on my shoulder, leading me down the path to unsavory stitching practices. And what made it more funny was on any other project, those are the things I would be doing. It's just on this one where I was going to do it right, he was persuading me to do it wrong. I did a little more on One Fateful Night. I'm working on the hull of the Titanic. I run hot and cold on this project. I either really like it or just kind of like it. I'm not loving the 3 strands on 18 count. I've done a lot of things with 5 and 6 strands on 18 count, but these are full cross stitches, not half cross stitches, and it makes a difference. I do think that having the dark, heavy stitches showing the hull of the ship will give it more of an impact than if I use 2 stitches. That is what the pattern wants me to do. That is what I'm telling myself. And I'm just going to slog away with it a bit at a time, and I'll get there eventually. These tie points on the dock were supposed to be 3 strands, but I didn't read the pattern correctly, and I am not picking those out. I'm just going to be consistent on the rest of the dock and consistent on the hull of the ship. Don't expect to see this done anytime soon. I started a new shawl, and of course I stopped mid-row, so I can't hold it up to show it to you in all its drapey beauty. It's kind of Easter egg, springy, mottled colors. I like it well enough. It's going to be warm, it's going to be drapey, it's going to be a good comfort shawl, and it is coming together surprisingly fast. I've already knit up one of the 3 skeins of yarn that I'm using. It's Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn, clearance yarn from quite a few sales ago. A week or so I was watching YouTube videos, and there is a very old video, Erica Wilson Stitches an Owl. I have several of her embroidery books. They are full of some really neat patterns, and when I saw it more than a couple years ago, I added the video to my watch later list. It's been gathering whatever the internet equivalent to dust is, and I finally watched it, and it is worth the watch if you like needlepoint. She was doing large scale projects. If you grew up in the 70s, do you remember the big wallpaper murals of trees and waterfalls and outdoorsy scenes? She embroidered one in her hallway. It is stunning. But she also did an owl. And I liked the owl. I liked how she was doing the feathers. A few days later, I was up moving stuff around here in the attic and came across this. Now, I knew I had this. I got it in an estate sale a few years back for literally nothing. It's an owl. It's an Erica Wilson owl. It is not the same owl she was doing in the video, but wow, it is shockingly close. And now I know how to do these feathers when and if I decide that I'm ready to tackle it. I got goodies in the mail. My friend Joanna Campbell Slan sent me her 2 newest books to read and share with you. I haven't had a chance to read them yet, but I wanted to show you I had them. This is Death at the Dog Park. It is 2 novellas, one by Joanna, one by Neil S. Plackey. I have not had the fun of reading his stuff yet. It looks like there's going to be a focus on Kiki's Great Dane, Gracie, in this book. And Gracie is one of my favorite characters in the series, human or not. So I am looking forward to it. There's also Wednesday Wicked Ways, the 4th in the Friday Night Mystery series. These are set in 1986, and that is a time period that I am really enjoying reading about these days. She's a smart, funny heroine. Cannot wait to read about these. I will let you know when I'm done with them. And speaking of reading things that aren't set in the present day, we went to the thrift store and they had multiple shelves of really old Harlequin romances. This one's from 1959. That is the oldest I've seen in I don't know how long. It's got a price in grease pencil on the front. I was looking through these and wanting to buy a couple so that I could spend an afternoon curled up reading about a time that I wasn't even born yet. About the 3rd one I flipped open had the stamp in the front cover from the used bookstore that I worked at when I was in high school. I get nostalgic about everything in the thrift store, but the paperback exchange has been closed for a very long time. You don't see the books anymore that have half a dozen different bookstore stamps in the front cover, and I miss that. So seeing a stamp at all was neat. Seeing a stamp from my bookstore was even neater. I've been doing more moving stuff around here in the attic, making more room. I moved a whole bunch of books from that side of the room to behind the bookshelf because I'm not going to need to get at them anytime soon, and I moved them myself. I did not call a boy to do it for me or to wrestle the bookshelf out of the way, and I am not hurting yet, so I'm reasonably proud of my little bitty accomplishment. I'm looking forward to figuring out what else I've been stitching on that wasn't Coffee Pot, because I know there are other projects down there in my sewing corner, and I'm going to get to work on them, and I will be back with you with more videos soon. Thanks for watching. I'm Michelle. This is my Romantic Tangle.